Welcome back to our channel, True Crime Enthusiasts. I'm John Garfield. On August 27, 2024, Wade Stephen Wilson stood in a Lee County courtroom. Judge Nicholas Thompson sentenced him to death for the murders of Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz. The acts, committed 5 years earlier, showed no mercy. Wilson heard the words. He showed no reaction. And until now, the execution date stayed unset. Appeals dragged on. No final day marked on a calendar. The case traced back to October 2019 in Cape Coral, Florida. Wilson met Melton at a bar. He followed her home. The next morning, he strangled her after sex. He took her car. On the road, he spotted Ruiz walking to work. He asked for directions. She got in. He strangled her too. Then he drove over her body multiple times. The tires crushed her. He left her in a field. The killings came cold, quick. Brutal details emerged later. Hands on throats. A body mangled to ensure death. But questions lingered. What turned a night out into this? Details held back for now. Shock spread beyond the crimes. Wilson drew fans. Women sent letters to death row. They called him the handsome devil. Tattoos covered his face, including a swastika. Yet hybristophilia took hold, attraction to killers. Online posts praised his looks. Hundreds wrote for leniency. How did a man like this pull such devotion? What drew them to the darkness? These threads pull us in. What if the system missed signs? Could justice bend? Stay with us as we trace the path. If you find this story gripping, like and share to spread awareness. Justice hangs unresolved in too many cases. Drop your thoughts below. Subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and let's dive in. To dive into the details of how the events unfolded, I've gathered information from court records, police reports, and witness statements. There are plenty of notable points along the way. Stay steady. Some actions here are hard to square with what one person could do. On the night of October 6, 2019, Wade Stephen Wilson stepped into a local bar in Cape Coral, Florida. He had just fought with his girlfriend. The argument left him restless. Inside the dimly lit spot, he spotted Christine Melton, a 35-year-old woman out with friends. They talked. Drinks flowed. Before long, Wilson joined Melton and her group as they headed back to her house. The night blurred into something casual, unremarkable at first. But what sparked that chance meeting? Was it just bad luck or something darker pulling the strings? Morning broke on October 7, 2019. In Melton's bedroom, things turned deadly. After they had sex, Wilson wrapped his hands around her neck. He squeezed until she stopped moving. Christine Melton lay lifeless on the bed. Wilson didn't pause. He grabbed her car keys from the nightstand and slipped out the door. The engine roared to life as he drove off in her stolen vehicle, leaving her body behind. Why the sudden shift from intimacy to violence? Did the drugs in his system fuel it, or was this rage always simmering just below the surface? That same day, October 7, 2019, Wilson cruised the streets of Cape Coral. He noticed Diane Ruiz, 43, walking along the roadside. She was on her way to work, a single mother with a routine life. Wilson pulled over. He leaned out the window and asked for directions, his voice steady, disarming. Ruiz got in the car to help. Moments later, his hands were on her throat. He strangled her until her body went limp. The attack was swift, opportunistic. But what made Ruiz a target? A random pedestrian, or did Wilson see vulnerability in her solitary walk? Wilson didn't stop there. With Ruiz dead in the passenger seat, he drove to a secluded spot. He dragged her body out and dumped it in the grass. Then he got back in the car. He reversed, accelerated, and ran over her. Again and again. The tires crushed bone and flesh, ensuring no chance of survival. He left her mangled remains in an open field, exposed to the elements. The act was methodical, almost ritualistic. How many times did he back up and drive forward? What compelled him to desecrate the body like that, turning murder into something even more grotesque? The immediate aftermath unfolded quickly. Still on October 7, 2019, Wilson picked up his phone. He dialed his birth father, Stephen Testiseca. In a calm, detached voice, he confessed. "I killed 2 women today," he said, recounting the details without a hint of regret. The call lasted minutes, but it set everything in motion. Testiseca, stunned, contacted the police. Wilson's words hung in the air, cold, factual. Why call his father of all people? Was it a twisted boast, or the first crack in his facade, knowing the net was closing in? As the sun set on that fateful day, Cape Coral, a quiet coastal town, remained oblivious to the horror. Melton's friends would soon wonder why she didn't answer calls. Ruiz's workplace would notice her absence. The stolen car sat parked somewhere, key still in the ignition. Wilson's spree had lasted less than 24 hours, but it shattered lives forever. Questions linger. What if Melton had stayed home that night? Could Ruiz have kept walking, ignoring the stranger's request? These moments, frozen in time, reveal the fragility of everyday choices. Yet this is only the beginning of the nightmare. What shaped the man behind these acts, his troubled past, the addictions, the prior brushes with the law? And how did authorities piece it together, leading to a trial riddled with controversy? The shadows of his background, the chase for justice, and the lingering mysteries await in the chapters ahead. For a clearer view of the case and the man behind it, let's break down Wade Wilson's background and the events that shaped him. You might spot red flags that got overlooked time and again. So, on May 20th, 1994, Wade Stephen Wilson entered the world. He came into a family that adopted him early on. His adoptive parents provided a stable home in Florida. They showed him care. But by his teenage years, things shifted. Mental health issues surfaced. Drug use took hold. Wilson started down a path that led away from that loving environment. His birth father, Stephen Testaseca, later described him plainly. He's never shown remorse, Testaseca said. No apology, no regret, just facts laid bare. What pushed a boy from a supportive home into that void? Did the adoption leave unseen scars, or was it something wired deeper? The troubles built slowly at first. In November 2013, Wilson faced his first major conviction. Burglary and grand theft. He broke into places. He took what wasn't his. The court sentenced him. He served time, but it didn't stop there. 2 years later, in 2015, authorities arrested him again. Charges included sexual battery and kidnapping. He held someone against their will. He crossed lines. Yet the case fell apart. He walked free. No conviction stuck. Questions hung in the air. How did he evade that one? Was evidence thin, or did luck play a hand in his release? On October 17, 2017, another mark hit his record, firearm theft. Wilson stole a gun. The court convicted him. He paid the price, but the pattern held. Weapons entered the mix now. Danger edged closer. Then, on February 19, 2019, accusations piled up once more. He stole a laptop and phone from an ex-girlfriend. Items vanished from her space. Later claims surfaced, kidnapping and rape. But a no-contact order blocked the probe. Investigators stopped short. No deeper dig. Why let that slide? Did the order shield him, or did the system fail to push through? Just months before the murders, on July 1st, 2019, Wilson landed in custody again. Battery. He struck someone. Physical harm. The arrest came and went. He moved on. But behind these entries lay a deeper rot. Methamphetamine gripped him. The drug fueled highs and crashes. Mental disorders compounded it. Doctors noted instability. His face bore the marks. Tattoos covered it. A swastika stood out. It tied him to extremist views. Hate symbols etched in skin. In Cape Coral, Florida, a quiet coastal spot, this all brewed under the surface. The town held beaches and suburbs. Families walked streets without fear. Wilson's presence shattered that illusion. The community reeled when the killings hit. How did a place so calm harbor such a storm? What signs did neighbors miss every day? The victims fit no pattern beyond chance. Christine Melton, 35, lived alone. She worked, socialized. On that October night in 2019, she sat at a bar. Wilson appeared. Conversation started. She invited him back with friends. A casual encounter. No red flags raised. Diane Ruiz, 43, raised kids on her own. She walked to her job each day, routine steps along the road. Wilson drove by in Melton's stolen car. He asked for directions. She climbed in to help, trust given freely. Both women crossed his path at the wrong moment, Melton through a night out, Ruiz through a helpful gesture. Their lives ended abruptly. Why these two? Random picks, or did Wilson spot weakness in their solitude? Zoom out, and the case mirrored bigger shadows across America. Violent crimes tied to drugs, mental breakdowns unchecked. Meth ravaged communities. Instability bred chaos. Wilson's story drew eyes nationwide. The media dubbed him the handsome devil. His looks, despite the tattoos, pulled focus. Fans emerged online. Women sent letters. They called it hybristophilia, attraction to killers. Social media buzzed with it. Posts glorified his image. The case highlighted a dark underbelly. Fame twisted around horror. Public fascination grew. But at its core, it exposed failures. Systems that let prior crimes slide, addictions untreated, extremism ignored. In Florida's sunny facade, these elements collided. The shock rippled out. Communities questioned safety. Families mourned.
What fed this cycle? Could intervention have halted the slide years earlier? This background sets the stage for the unraveling. A man shaped by adoption, drugs, and unchecked acts. Victims caught in the crossfire. Society's cracks exposed. But the story presses on. How did authorities close in? What unfolded in the courtroom with debates over mind and motive? The investigations, the trials, the sentences, and the lingering doubts lie ahead, pulling back more layers on the man they called the Deadpool Killer. In this section, let's go back over the events that turned this into one of the most debated cases around. The details here draw from trial transcripts, legal filings, and investigative notes. On October 8, 2019, police took Wade Steven Wilson into custody. His birth father, Stephen Testaseca, had called them. Wilson had phoned him the day before. He laid out the killings in flat tones. No emotion. The father passed it on. Detectives questioned Wilson at the station. He sat there, face marked with tattoos. He told them he would do it again if he got the chance. No regret in his voice. The words hung in the room. Officers noted it down. What made him say that right away? Did he think it would scare them, or was it just the truth spilling out? 2 days later, on October 10, 2019, search teams found Diane Ruiz's body. It lay in the field where Wilson said it would be. He had pointed it out during his talk with police. The remains showed the damage. Tire tracks over bones, grass flattened. Medical examiners confirmed strangulation. The scene matched his account. Cape Coral Street stayed quiet, but word spread. Families locked doors. Why lead them straight to the body? Was it a game, or did he want the chase over? The case moved fast. On November 19, 2019, a grand jury indicted him. 2 counts of first-degree murder. Premeditated. They added charges for the car theft, the battery on Ruiz. Wilson stayed in jail. No bail. Lawyers shuffled papers. The room filled with nods, evidence stacked up, phone records, witness statements from the bar. What holes might the defense poke? Could they claim the confession came under pressure? By December 3, 2019, prosecutors made their move. They announced plans for the death penalty. The office issued a statement. Wilson's acts called for it, they said. Brutal. No mercy shown. The news hit local channels. Reporters stood outside the courthouse. Cameras clicked. Wilson heard it from his cell. No reaction reported. Why go for death so early? Did they see no path to redemption in his file? Time passed in lockup. On September 30, 2020, Wilson tried to break out. Guards caught him. Details stayed thin. A hole in the fence maybe. Tools smuggled in. It added charges. Escape attempt. The jail tightened rules. His case dragged on. COVID slowed courts. Hearings pushed back. What drove the escape? Fear of the needle, or just another thrill? Years later, the trial started. On June 10, 2024, the courtroom filled. Witnesses took the stand. Melton's friends described the bar night, the drive home. Ruiz's family spoke of her walk to work. Experts detailed the strangulations. Photos shown. Jury looked away sometimes. Wilson sat still. Tattoos on display. Defense cross-examined. Gaps in timelines. Drug haze. But the state pushed hard. How did the witnesses hold up? Could their memories shift the scales? 2 days in, on June 12, 2024, the jury returned. Guilty on all counts. 2 first-degree murders. Grand theft auto. Battery. Burglary. The foreman read it out. Wilson showed no change. Cuffs clicked as guards let him out. Families wept in the seats. The phase shifted to penalty. What swayed the jury so quick? Evidence too clear, or his face sealing it? On June 25, 2024, they recommended death. 9-3 for Melton, 10-2 for Ruiz. Votes split. Florida's new law from 2023 allowed it. No full agreement needed, just 8 yeses. Critics called it unfair, less democratic, more room for mistakes. Petitions circulated. Groups argued it broke justice basics. Wilson's team pointed to it. Appeal grounds. But the judge noted the votes. What if the old rule stood? Would those holdouts save him? Debates raged outside. Wilson's mental history came up. Disorders from youth, meth addiction. Court dismissed it as mitigation, no reduction. Talk spread of missed rehab chances. Hundreds of letters poured in. Women wrote for leniency. They noted his cleaned-up look in jail. Treatment worked, they said, but the state ignored. Why brush off the psych file? Did it threaten the narrative of pure evil? His statements clashed, too. Wilson claimed a setup. Underground traffickers framed him. He confessed to shield family, he said. Doubts on hidden evidence. His first lawyer botched it. He called them terrible. Key proofs left out. Investigators denied it. No proof surfaced. What if those claims held water, a bigger web, or just deflection? Bias crept in. Prosecutors highlighted his looks. The swastika tattoo. It swayed the jury, critics said. Motive debates flared. Drugs or intent. His prison ties to the Unforgiven gang added fuel. Violations in jail. Smuggling. Fights. It painted Florida's system dark. Overcrowded. Flawed. Questions piled on fairness. Did the ink doom him more than the axe? The gavel fell, but echoes lingered. This phase closed one door. Yet death row waited. The sentence. The cell life. Appeals stretching years. Fan letters. A documentary in 2026 stirring it all up again. These twists and unseen threads pull the story forward, revealing more about the man, the system, and the shadows that refuse to fade. On August 27, 2024, Wade Stephen Wilson stood in the Lee County courtroom. Judge Nicholas Thompson looked him over. The murders of Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz demanded death, the judge said. The brutality outweighed any claims of mental fog or drug haze. No room for leniency. Wilson stared ahead, face still marked with those tattoos. Guards let him out. 3 days later, on August 30th, 2024, he entered death row at Florida State Prison. The cell door clanged shut. Strict routine set in. 23 hours locked down, 1 hour out. Meals slid through a slot, no windows to the outside world. What crossed his mind in those first silent hours? Did the weight of the sentence finally crack that cold exterior? Life on the road dragged on. Wilson adapted to the grind. Reports came in of rule breaks. He smuggled drugs, guards said. Ties to the Unforgiven gang surfaced. Whispers of fights and deals in the yard. Yet fan mail piled up. Women sent letters drawn to his handsome devil look. They wrote of love, forgiveness. Wilson read them in his cell, maybe smirked. The system kept watch, but violations stacked. How did contraband slip through? What hold did the gang have on a man already facing the end? By January 2026, a documentary hit screens. Handsome Devil, the Wade Wilson story, dug into the case. It traced the killings, his face tattoos, the swastika hinting at twisted views. The film spotlighted his appeal. Women flocking online, romanticizing the killer. Debates exploded. Critics called it glamorizing evil. A man with extremist ink and a history of violence drew admirers. Society faced the risk. Killers like Wilson, minds warped by hate and drugs, could inspire copycats. Loose in the world, they spread danger. Locked away, the threat lingered through fame. Why did his image pull such a crowd? Did the media feed the monster? Campaigns against the death penalty ramped up. Groups targeted Florida's 2023 law. 8 jurors enough for death, not 12. Unfair, they argued. Wilson's mental history got ignored. Disorders from teen years, meth grip. Could treatment have turned him? Petitions flooded in. Public split sharp. Some demanded justice for Melton and Ruiz. Families spoke of lost lives, kids without moms. Others doubted the trial's fairness. Tattoos swayed the jury, they said. Motives muddled by drugs. The divide grew. Was death the only fix? The sentence raised hard questions. Did execution serve necessity? For some, yes, it ended the risk forever. A killer with deviant thoughts, unbound, endangered streets. Death demanded accountability. Victims' blood called for it. Public safety won out. But if carried through, justice reclaimed ground. Families found closure. Society drew a line. No mercy for the merciless. Yet doubts nagged. Life in prison could suffice, reformers said. Rehabilitation a shot. What tipped the scale? Did death truly heal the wounds? These threads weave on. Appeals loom. Last words wait. The rose shadows hold more final meals, final fights, and the clock ticking down. This is the end for today. If you found this video insightful and worth your time, hit that like button. Share it with others to spread the word. Our goal here is to remind everyone that countless cases of justice remain unserved. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe for more stories like this. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.